I want to welcome everyone to Station 33 today. We're on West 117th Street in Lynette. This is the headquarters for the 3rd Battalion, which protects the west side of Cleveland. It's home to Engine 33, Technical Rescue Squad 2, the Chief of the 3rd Battalion, and EMS Medic 33. We're here to talk about an event that happened on Monday morning. We had a house fire on West 102nd Street, just south of Thrush. And, Cleveland firefighters are trained. We are equipped, we are compensated to protect lives and protect property, save lives. From the time we are cadets in the academy, we are training to save lives, practice crawling, finding the baby, rescuing the baby. But on Monday morning, we weren't on scene yet, and thank God John Stickovich was on scene. And he was very brave that morning, so I want to start with, we'll start with Samantha James. She's got the babies Opal and Lotus and Dustin Siska. They'll give us a scenario before Cleveland firefighters got on the scene that morning.
That morning started off as any regular Monday morning for us. My other children, their schedules allowed for them to not be in the home. The other two were at school. And my 2-year-old was getting dropped off to me that morning. He'd spent the weekend with his dad. Dustin had just left for work. I got up with the babies. Lotus was still sleeping. I got Opal up and set her down to play. And sat down at my laptop to do some work. And I heard Opal cry, which wasn't unusual. So stood up, and when I stood up, that's when I noticed the smoke. And by the time I got from my room to the kitchen, it was so thick, I couldn't believe it. It was like maybe 20 minutes, half hour since I was just sitting in my living room. And the smoke was so thick already I couldn't see. I couldn't breathe. And I tried to get Opal, I tried to look for her, I tried to find her. And I immediately thought about Lotus sleeping in her room. And I went and I got her, and she was face down, sleeping. I didn't know if she was awake or not. I had to get her outside. I came back in for Opal, and I could not find her. And then I panicked. I didn't stop and think about dropping to the ground. I opened up a window for some reason, thinking that would make it better. And there was a point where I had to accept that I could not get my baby. And I had to get back to my other baby. And I ran outside and got Lotus, and I saw the magnitude of the fire from just the side of the house. And I just started screaming for help. Screaming and running with this baby. Thank God John was driving. He pulled over, got out, and said, "Oh my God, are you and the baby okay?" And I said, "No, absolutely not. There's another baby in the house." And he asked where she was. I said, "By the kitchen." And that man went into that fire that I couldn't be in. He came back out empty-handed. And I said, "No, please no." And he asked, "Where is she?" I told him again. And he went back into that fire. And a couple of minutes later, he came out holding my baby that I thought I was never going to see again. Those moments, I was thinking to myself, how am I going to have just one twin? How am I going to do that? And I think as soon as Opal came out, that's when the fire department and the EMS showed up. And that was one of the most traumatic experiences in my life, having to face that fatigue with the fire. I'm so grateful for John. He is our guardian angel, for sure. And to the firefighters.
He went into the fire not once, but twice to save the baby. So now I'll introduce the man of the hour, John Stickovich.
It started out as a day to going to work. And as I was driving up LA, saw the smoke in the house, coming from the house, and pulled in, She was on the front tree lawn with her baby. And then I asked her if she was okay. She said, "My baby's in there." And I thought to myself, oh my God. I just took off running. I went to the side of the house, kicked the door in. Couldn't get in that way. Went around the back of the house. Kitchen door was open. I went in there, I called around. I couldn't find the baby. I came back out and I asked her, I said, "Where is your baby?" She gave me directions. Went back in, found the baby gate laying on the floor and felt around. Couldn't find the baby. I was just getting ready to leave because it was getting so bad. And then the baby cried. And it was enough to get me to lurch forward another 3 feet. My arm went across her leg. I just pulled back, grabbed her by the leg, and out the door. Brought her out, handed her to her mother's, and then these fine men showed up. Took over after that. Now we're all here. And the baby's safe and gets to live hopefully a full happy life. And they don't have to grieve ever, which is the most important thing.
The Division of Fire is very proud of Mr. Stickovich, and we want to thank him very much for his bravery. Of course, it was at that time time to fight the fire, so I want to introduce the incident commander, Battalion Chief Chris Keener. He was in charge of the Fire Use Battalion 3 that day, and he'll tell us about the firefight, which led to the second rescue.
First, I'd like to start off by expressing my gratitude to Mr. Stickovich. If it weren't for his actions that morning, we could very well be mourning a loss rather than celebrating beautiful life over here. As far as the fire goes, it posed some definite challenges that day. Even under normal circumstances, a structured fire is a chaotic scene, but when we got reports of people trapped in a house and we didn't have any reliable reports on who might have been left in the house, we take great risks. As a matter of fact, that's our management principle in a fire is that we risk a lot to save life. We'll risk a little to save property, and we risk nothing to save if nothing can be saved. That came into play that day. It started out pretty bad. The front of the house was fully engulfed in flames. There were downed arcing power lines right in the front of the structure. We couldn't make use of our ladder truck to get to the front of the structure, which is our normal protocol at a house fire. So right off the bat, we were relying on hand tools and manpower and dragging lines into the structure. It was a challenging morning, and as I was saying, for the first time in my career, I was on a scene where a Mayday was called. I hope that doesn't happen again, because personally, I went from a point of absolute despair and dread, and in the span of 2 minutes, turned into elation and relief. But it's a testament to everybody that was on the scene that day. Their training kicked in instantly, and they worked on instinct to free the trapped firefighter that was operating under that roof. When he was cleared and pulled out of that rubble, the rest of the fire was a piece of cake. Probably the most seriously injured was firefighter Morik, who was operating at the bay window at the front of the house, and luckily, the way the front porch collapsed, it was sort of a cantilever collapse on him, and he had just enough space to survive anything more serious than what he did. He sustained some pretty serious burns to his legs and was pinned by the structural members of the porch.
Good morning. Anthony Luke, Chief, Cleveland Division of Fire. Today is a good day. Today is a day about life, sacrifice, dedication, courage. The actions of John were outstanding, incredible, amazing. That represents the core of what Cleveland is about. sacrificing for each other, unselfish sacrifice. It's just totally amazing. We as firefighters, we do this every day. We don't ask for accolades. We don't ask for praise. Many times we are uncomfortable in the spotlight with it, but all the firefighters you see standing here, the injured firefighters, they do this every day. Their families are at home worrying about them every day. Sometimes the fire department, we have expensive equipment, we're costly, we really don't bring in a lot of revenue to the city, but this is why we're here. These babies' lives are why we exist. So to all the firefighters standing here, I just want to say, you make me proud every day. I'm proud to be your leader. And once again, to John, I can't express in words what the actions that you took, what it really means to us. Thank you very much.
It takes a lot of guts to do what he did, and we're all just very thankful that he was there. And specifically for myself, I'm just thankful for all my coworkers, my brothers behind me, that were able to get me out of trouble when I ended up there.
Can you describe what that was like, in those moments?
Yeah. So it was without warning, pretty much. I just heard a crack. And then next thing I know, I was under a porch and a roof. It took me a couple seconds to figure out what happened, and thank God for our training, because the driver actually called a mayday for me. I couldn't move. It took me a while, but I figured out how to reach my radio, and at that point the mayday had already been called for me by someone on the outside who had seen the whole thing happen. And thank God for his quick reaction, because like everyone said, people got to work right away.
Have you ever seen anything like this before? Any kind of fire?
No, I have not been in a mayday situation. I hope to, like Chief Keener said, I hope to never be put in a situation like that again. Yeah, I can't say that I've ever seen anything like that. Otherwise, I wouldn't have put myself in that situation to begin with, right? So, but like everyone has said, there were what we thought lives to be saved. So we're going to put ourselves in harm's way to get there.